They thought it was just a low-flying UAV along the Yemeni coast. A small threat, barely worth noticing, a disposable blip on a radar screen stretched thin by war, but at exactly 10:18 a.m., March 28, 2025, in a concealed position hidden within a war-torn landscape, a three-man HIMARS crew received the two words they had waited hours, maybe days to hear. Batteries, release. Seconds later, the most advanced guided rocket system ever developed came alive, and its target wasn't armor or ammunition. It was one of Europe's most critical energy facilities, a strike with no precedent, a message wrapped in precision fire. 60 kilometers out, American radar had already locked it. This wasn't improvisation, this was choreography. The HIMARS launcher, mounted on a 16-ton 6x6 truck, had only just stabilized. Hydraulic arms locked it to the ground. Inside, the Fire Control Chief input final data into the UFCS GPS coordinates, live weather, encrypted satellite data, optimal trajectories for both GMLRS rockets, now fully programmed. This wasn't just a launch, this was a strategic statement. What if you spotted a missile on your 6? Would you turn, or vanish into cloud? One wrong move, and that entire patch of sky disappears from radar, taking your counterstrike with it. Just one button. A single tap on the console and hell breaks loose from the ground, screaming into the sky at breakneck speed. 10:18:30 a.m., March 28, 2025, Russia-Ukraine border. Each GMLRS rocket packs a 200-pound warhead loaded with PBXN-109, a high-explosive mix built to smash through fortified structures. These aren't dumb missiles. Each one's got a GPS receiver, cutting-edge inertial navigation, INS, adjusting mid-flight to hit within 15 meters of its programmed target, even through heavy electronic jamming. The first rocket launch unleashing 10,000 pounds of thrust, trailing a massive fireball and an ear-splitting screech toward the heavens. The second rocket follows 15 seconds later, deliberately staggered, programmed to take different paths but hit the same target simultaneously, making life impossible for any air defense system. As soon as both rockets are airborne, the HIMARS rig retracts its hydraulics and peels out, gone in 90 seconds flat, leaving nothing but smoke and tire tracks, a ghost vanishing on the battlefield. Russia underestimated the HIMARS, its mobility, its lightning-fast deploy and disappear act. They didn't see a precision strike like this coming, aimed not at traditional military targets, but at critical infrastructure. If you're the HIMARS crew chief, do you prioritize hauling ass out of there, or make sure the target's obliterated with a bigger barrage? The GMLRS is a beyond visual range weapon, engineered for pinpoint accuracy. Using it on a strategic energy target marks a bold shift in tactics. From widespread destruction to hitting economic and psychological pressure points, two executioners have left the launcher, streaking through the night sky at dizzying speed. The question is, can Russia react in time? Or is it already too late to stop the disaster? Ripping through the sky at over 3,700 kilometers per hour, two GMLR's rockets blaze across Russian airspace like bolts of death, near impossible to spot. 10:19 a.m., March 28, 2025. Western Russia, 13,700 meters up. Both rockets scream at hypersonic speed, clocking past Mach 3, 3 times the speed of sound. Cruising at an optimal 45,000 feet, they're out of reach for most short and medium-range air defenses. The rocket's GPS systems ping their position with razor-sharp accuracy, but the inertial navigation, sensors and gyros kicks in as a flawless backup plan when electronic jamming tries to throw them off. Both rockets are programmed for low-altitude, terrain-following flight, hugging the landscape to dodge radar, using the Earth's natural cover as a shield. One rocket's in from the northwest, the other from the northeast, forming an aerial pincer move, a tactic designed to overwhelm any point defense system, forcing it to split its firepower, now or ignore one threat entirely. Russia's air defenses were locked on predictable, straight-line paths of standard cruise missiles, blind to the GMLRS's low-flying, terrain-hugging, multi-angle approach. The aerial pincer tactic is a beast of a strategy, demanding pinpoint timing and coordinates. Its goal? Scatter the enemy's defenses, and hit with attack vectors no system can handle all at once. Launch once. Regret twice. Every second ticks closer to the target, a point of no return. Russia still hasn't mustered a real response. This isn't just any building. It's the beating heart of the Sudza gas facility, housing millions of cubic meters of pressurized gas, a massive energy stockpile ready to erupt. 10:20 a.m., March 28, 2025. 30 seconds from impact, with the target just 30 seconds away. The rocket's radar altimeters kick into gear. Onboard computers process navigation updates 50 times a second, fine-tuning the trajectory to lock onto precise coordinates provided by recon intel. These aren't vague target zones. They're the facility's structural weak points, pinpointed down to the last detail. As they close in, the rockets get smarter, adjusting their flight paths with surgical precision like an operation in midair. No slowing down. These are fire-tipped arrows guided by AI and hyper-accurate data. Zero room for error. Russia misjudged the enemy's intel game. They didn't expect their opponent to know every critical component, every weak spot of the facility, enabling a strike built to maximize destruction. If you're calling the shots as fire control commander, do you go for a simultaneous strike to overwhelm, or split targets for deeper, harder to recover damage? The key to this attack's success: scout work and hyper-precise coordinates. It screams a powerhouse intel and target analysis system backing the operation. This is next level strike package and said doctrine. Suppression of enemy air defenses on steroids. Nobody on the ground sees it coming, but these two executioners are prepped for an explosive surgery, one that'll reshape the energy landscape of an entire region. No one could hit the emergency stop. In those fateful seconds, the destiny of millions of cubic meters of compressed gas and a critical piece of Russia's energy grid was sealed. 10:20 a.m., March 28, 2025. Impact second 0. The first rocket slams into the central processing unit, tearing through reinforced concrete like it's paper. Its shaped charge warhead unleashes a hypersonic jet of molten copper, burrowing meters deep into the equipment's core, igniting the high-pressure gas system inside. 15 seconds later, the second rocket hits the control building. Its warhead, timed with a 0.5-second delay, punches through defenses and detonates inside the skater room, the nerve center for automated operations and emergency safety protocols. A massive fireball erupts from the first impact, then signaling the start of an unstoppable disaster. Thick black smoke billows into the sky, followed by the second explosion, ripping through the air and the plant's structure. Russia underestimated the GMLRS's penetration power and the strike's pinpoint accuracy. They lacked robust backups to isolate or shut down systems under such a precise attack. The specialized warheads and time delays show this wasn't just destruction. It was designed to maximize damage and crush any chance of emergency control. A surgical strike, carving out the plant's brain and heart with brutal precision. Power doesn't come from size, but from accuracy. After the initial blasts, gas begins flooding the air. A true inferno is brewing, not from explosives, but from the very energy this facility held. Gas floods the air, mixing with oxygen. In just 45 seconds, the perfect ratio for a fuel-air explosion is reached. A deadly blend of physics and chemistry ignited by a precision strike. 10:21:15 a.m., March 28, 2025. 45 seconds after the initial blast, sparks from shattered electrical panels and severed power lines trigger the first flash. This isn't just fire, it's a detonation. A supersonic inferno surges hundreds of meters into the sky, its shockwave rippling for kilometers, shattering glass miles away. Seismic stations pick up the blast's roar over 100 kilometers out, packing the punch of 50 tons of TNT. The core of the explosion hits 1,800 degrees Celsius, hot enough to melt steel and vaporize concrete. Underground storage tanks ignite in a chain reaction, the plant disintegrating piece by piece, structures collapsing in waves. A massive, raging fireball swallows the sky, devouring everything in its path. Reinforced buildings crumble like dominoes. Molten metal shards spray outward, turning the area into a wasteland. Toxic smoke and flames choke the horizon, visible from dozens of kilometers away. Russia didn't see the domino effect coming, not from a precision hit on a sensitive target like this gas facility. Their automated fire suppression and gas leak containment systems weren't fast enough for an attack of this caliber. If you're an air defense commander, do you prioritize guarding military targets or critical infrastructure like this when both are strategic gold? The fuel-air explosion, one of the most devastating kinds, especially in a gas-rich environment, was no accident. This strike was calculated not just to destroy, but to unleash a cascading catastrophe, maximizing damage and recovery time. In mere minutes, a vital link in Russia's energy network gone. This devastation isn't just physical, it's a gut punch to a nation's economic lifeline. The Sudza gas facility, once a critical cog in Russia's energy machine, gone. Reduced to a smoldering heap of rubble, a monument to absolute destruction. 10:24 a.m., March 28th, 2025, you're 5 minutes post-explosion, initial assessments. Total weight of the two GMLRS rockets? Under 700 pounds. Operation time? Less than 6 seconds from launch to total devastation. The cost? A strategic energy hub worth tens of millions. Wiped out, completely non-functional, facing years to rebuild, if it's even possible. From above, the plant is a smoking wreck, a gaping hole on the map, a stark scar of a relentless strike. Rescue units got distress calls from miles away, but can't get close. Secondary explosion risks block their path. Russia failed hard, unable to shield its key infrastructure from a swift precision attack, a glaring gap in their defense strategy. This strike screams a shift in modern warfare, where high-value targets can be crippled with minimal resources, but maximum impact. It's a textbook case of asymmetric warfare, where an enemy can inflict massive damage without ever going toe-to-toe. As the dust settles, the world sees only ruins, but those behind the attack are already dissecting the results, pulling hard lessons for future ops. What fueled this crushing success? A cold, surgical strike. Unstoppable, but not by chance. This was months of intel gathering and target analysis paying off. Months before March 28th, 2025. Intelligence and analysis hubs, encrypted GPS data and target coordinates beamed in via secure satellites. Details of the plant's structure, central processing units, SCADA rooms, gas pipelines, structural weak points, all pieced together from multiple sources. High-res satellite imagery, signals intelligence, SIGINT, drone imagery analysis, IMINT, maybe even human intel, HUMINT. Russia's air defenses around the target, scrutinized to expose radar gaps and weaknesses. This was the grind of weeks, maybe months, of relentless work by intel analysts. They fused data from every angle, building a crystal clear picture of the target, from its guts to its defenses. Every detail, no matter how small, picked apart to maximize impact and minimize risk. Russia banked too hard on static defenses, blind to asymmetric strikes targeting their core weaknesses, fueled by deep intel. Can Russia adapt to a war fought not just on battlefields, but against economic infrastructure, where precise intel is the ultimate weapon? This attack screams the power of accurate intelligence in modern warfare, the ability to pinpoint and hit an enemy's strategic choke points with absolute precision. That's the game changer. This was a victory of data and analysis than over traditional military muscle. As the smoke clears, the world sees only wreckage, but those behind the strike are already dissecting the outcome, pulling hard lessons for future ops. This win wouldn't have happened without tech and human coordination at the highest level. Taking out an energy hub deep in enemy territory isn't luck. It's the razor-sharp fusion of cutting-edge tech and human grit. The planning and execution phase. The HIMARS radar doesn't just scan, it analyzes, tracking and profiling targets non-stop. Layer on real-time data from assets like the RQ-4 Global Hawk or MQ-4C Triton drones, snapping images from 50,000 feet with infrared cargo scans. Every move backed by encrypted comms, live satellite feeds, and a command chain that doesn't flinch. The HIMARS is a beast of a system, but it's nothing without its people. The crew, those are the human edge. Trained to deploy fast, calculate with precision, and perform under insane pressure. From target detection to launch, it can all go down in under 30 minutes. Nations often obsess over weapon systems, forgetting the humans behind them. Operators, intel analysts, commanders making life or death calls. In modern warfare, what's the real game changer? Cutting-edge tech, or humans with unmatched adaptability and strategic thinking? This wasn't just a HIMARS hitting a target, it was a floating command hub, maybe a destroyer or mobile HQ, syncing with intel analysts, air crews, and interagency teams. Adversaries bank on speed and chaos. US forces lean on systems, training, and zero guesswork. And in that game, they don't miss. The strike on Sudza was a cold warning shot, but its real impact stretches far beyond the initial damage tally. Tens of millions in damages sounds like a headline. And it is. But the real fallout from that strike ripples way beyond a wrecked plant. right after the attack and in the days that followed. The damage wasn't just dollars lost, it was a gutted energy supply chain, gas shortages hitting key regions, and pressure spiking on global energy markets. The cash Russia lost from this facility, it won't fund weapons, bribes, or territorial power grabs anymore. This was a strike at their entire distribution network. Every shattered piece of that plant was a broken link in Russia's economic chain. Russian economic and military brass now face a massive problem. It's not just a lost production site, it's a loss of faith in their ability to protect critical assets. Russia didn't see it coming, an enemy targeting their economic and psychological weak spots, instead of just traditional military targets, triggering a crisis far bigger than the blast itself. What's more effective in a drawn-out conflict? A straight-up military strike? Or an economic gut punch like this? The drug trade's a network game, and so is economic warfare. Cut out a critical link, and you spark chaos, shortages, and distrust across the whole system. For Russia, this isn't just lost profits. It's a slashed artery in their ability to sustain the fight. This wasn't just a takedown, this was a statement. To some, it's just an attack on a plant. But to the HIMARS crew that pulled it off, this was a direct hit to the economic heart of the enemy. The Sudza explosion wasn't just a local event, its shockwaves echoed across the globe. A chilling wake-up call about the nature of modern warfare. In the days and weeks after the blast, NATO and allied intel reports dissected Russia's response. New defensive measures rolled out and shifts in energy trafficking networks. This will be a textbook case in military academies, showing how advanced weapon systems can flip the battlefield with minimal resources. World leaders watched closely, soaking up lessons from the fallout. Russia's stuck with a double whammy, patching up the damage and then scrambling to rebuild their defensive cred. Other powers are forced to rethink how they shield their critical infrastructure. A lack of situational awareness and slow reactions to unconventional attacks. That's a fatal flaw in old-school strategic thinking. Should nations pump more into asymmetric defense to counter threats like this down the road? This wasn't just a successful strike, it was a stress test of a superpower's resilience. It raises big questions about the boundaries of warfare and the role of civilian infrastructure in modern conflicts. This is the kind of precision work that rarely makes the news, but always changes the game. So, what's next? Is this the start of a bold new strategy, or just a one-off haymaker? Russian radar gone. HIMARS launcher out of there in minutes. The Sudza energy hub obliterated in 6 minutes of pure chaos. A multi-million-dollar strategic asset wiped out with just 2 clicks and less than 700 pounds of explosives. This wasn't just a strike on a target, it was a warning, a crystal clear message on the digital battlefield. The US doesn't need a preemptive strike, they just need their enemy to show their coordinates. This is the brutal lesson of modern warfare: speed, precision, and the element of surprise. In a world where everything's connected, one weak link can shatter an entire supply chain. Was this an overkill response, or not enough to shift the game? Should destroyers be deployed more often for missions like this? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. What would you do if your ship intercepted a vessel hauling $13 million in cocaine? Stay cool, or brace for trouble. The Houthis' next radar just lit up in Sudza, and this time, it's not just UAVs. In our next video, we'll dive into how the US hits back with dynamic targeting doctrine, locking onto moving targets, and the unpredictable fallout that follows. You don't aim at a US fighter unless you're ready to lose your whole system. You don't target an enemy's energy hub unless you're ready to lose your economic heart. If you want to go deeper and support the channel directly, join our fleet. You'll get member badges, priority replies, and most importantly, you'll help us bring real military stories to light. Goba's always ahead of the headlines. Thanks for watching. Catch you in the next video.